It's Joe Biden's big night, but his 2024 opponent is ready to steal the show. Donald Trump announcing that he will be doing a real-time fact check on the president, saying, quote, "I am pleased to inform you that we will be doing a live play-by-play of crooked Joe Biden's State of the Union address." Trump is also giving this preview of what you can expect tonight.
Joe Biden is on the run from his record and lying like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created. It's time to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired.
Donald Trump continues to rattle the Biden campaign. According to a new report, Joe's advisors hope the State of the Union speech can cure Americans of what they call Trump amnesia. All right, Dana, I'll go to you first.
Okay.
I mean, how do you feel about the former president doing a play-by-play tonight?
So I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I love that they came up with something fresh and different and a way to make sure that the media is going to have to cover his point of view, but also he's doing it in a way that utilizes the method where people can get direct information right from him. A lot of people will be doing live fact checks tonight. So I think that it's creative. I also think that in some ways he could have waited and done a response as well, right? Like let Katie Britt from Alabama do the Republican response. She's a beautiful, fresh face. She's going to do a great job tonight. But then maybe President Trump could say, I know that Joe's in bed already, but I'm here to give you a speech at 11:15 at night. The other reason I'm just of mixed emotions is, you know, the phrase from Napoleon that when your enemy is in the process of destroying himself, let him do it. And by inserting himself into the story tonight rather than just letting the chips fall where they may for an evening, I don't know if I just, it's a risk, it's a gamble. That's why I'm of two minds, but I don't have to make any decisions. I just get to talk about it.
All right, Greg, the New York Times says that many of us are suffering from Trump amnesia. Are you suffering from that?
No, I will never forget the cheaper prices, the fact that there weren't any wars. I would like to forget the media derangement. How can we forget that, though? Dana almost convinced me that it might not be a good idea, but I'm going to go ahead and say it is a good idea, even though she might have convinced me otherwise. Trump is going to correct Biden because no one else will, right? Since 2021, all of these heroic fact checkers went on hiatus, right? Because they declared victory over Big Orange, and there was no way they were going to fact check their guy, so they all went away. So now you're going to see scores of fact checkers fact checking Trump as he's fact-checking Biden, and it's going to be hilarious. All these lowly bloggers out there finally flexing their muscles of accuracy, unaware of their own absence for the past 3 years. Again, Trump is kind of doing what the mainstream media won't do. He's puncturing the veil, you know, telling on the media who won't be telling you the truth. And I think it's kind of like Mystery Science Theater for presidents. You know, the other guy is actually watching you and you know, tweeting or what is it called, truthing?
Sure.
Thanks, Jesse, for that backup.
Truthing.
You weren't even listening to me. Anyway.
What?
Yep. That's it for me.
All right, I'll go to you, Harold. Trump yesterday pushed Biden to debate him. If you were on Biden's campaign team, would you tell him to debate and do it immediately?
I would. I think Jesse and you, Judge, you missed me being in the middle of you guys there. You missed both of us being there.
We do.
The couple things. I think that Dana's largely right. I don't know if I would employ this strategy if I were former President Trump. But I got to tell you, what it goes to show is that this campaign is fully started. We're going to have this kind of back and forth between these guys for a long, long time. And if I were a Republican in that chamber tonight, a member of Congress or the member of the Senate, I would wish that the president, I'd probably agree with Dan on this, I'd wish he would not do it because Katie Britt, I think, has a real opportunity to be a breath of fresh air. I think one of the key issues that Republicans have to be mindful of in this national race, and that, you don't need me to tell you this or tell our viewers this, is how women's health and reproductive rights are going to be perceived. And my understanding, based on what little intelligence I have, is that Senator Britt is going to talk a little bit about that and give not only a fresh face, but a smart face and a new voice to that. So I'd probably wait if I were him. And in that room, in that chamber, I'd probably wish the president wouldn't distract that with the back and forth on Truth Social.
All right, Jesse. Last year, Biden in the State of the Union spent something like 79 seconds on the issue of immigration in a speech that was an hour and 13 minutes. What do you think is going to happen this time?
He's going to blame Republicans for his own open border, and the Democrats are going to clap, and the Republicans are going to roll their eyes, and everybody watching at home knows the truth. I want you guys to take a test. If you didn't watch any news during the 4 years of Trump, didn't watch any news of the 4 years of Joe Biden, which 4 years was more chaotic in your life? And under Biden, you have crime, you have migration, you have high prices, you have baby formula problems, supply chain problems. He kept schools closed for like 2 years. What was so chaotic under Donald Trump? There was peace and prosperity. The only chaos was in the brains of the left.
Right.
They were creating the chaos with these ridiculous Russia investigations. We didn't fall for it. They were hysterical about it. So what was happening during Donald Trump? He was tweeting when reporters were asleep. So what? He fired a few people. So what? Melania wore a coat with a message on it. So what? That doesn't affect anyone's life. Your lives have been thrown into chaos the last 4 years because of Biden's policies. That's what people need to remember.
Okay.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.